things are absolutely heating up in New York City. It's getting hot in her, as the famous Nelly song says. Socialist Zohran Mamdani, the newly elected mayor of New York City, is now begging New Yorkers to turn their air conditioners down in the middle of a historic heat wave in New York City, because the climate change hoax and the Green New Deal idiocy is now having a negative impact on the city of New York. It is at the point where their power grid is overwhelmed. These people want to stay on pace with failed countries like France and other idiotic countries with this climate change nonsense, so they can continue to steal. They can continue to trick their populations into settling for less, into accepting blatant abuse and mismanagement, so that the politicians running those places can still pilfer the coffers of these failing countries. And true to form, New York, what I call the second most liberal city on earth, is now attempting or dealing with the fallout of following these failed countries in lockstep into the trap of the Green New Deal hoax, into the trap of the climate change hoax, and they're facing the consequences. I'm Brandon Tucker. This is Defiant Brandon. Welcome back to Accountability. Now, we are on our second show of the day. And if you would allow me to, I would like to do what I love to do. This is one of the things I love doing. Crapping all over socialism. Socialists and the already proven failure of socialism, no matter where it is implemented. They know it's a failure. They just hope that you don't know it's a failure, so that they can steal from you until you find out, or until you realize that they've been scamming you all along. Zohran Mamdani is newly elected, but New York's Green New Deal nightmare started years ago when the state of New York, along with the city of New York, declared all-out war on fossil fuels. So what's happening right now is their own doing. The people of New York, well, I would say the poorer people of the city of New York, in hopes of getting freebies, handouts, lower rent, free buses, which will never come, are signing on or jumping on board with these socialists for purely selfish reasons. But the more and more Democrats scream affordability, isn't it crazy how things are becoming increasingly less affordable? Yes, you're going to save money on the community grocery store. When it comes eventually, no one knows when it's going to get here. Yes, you're going to save a little money as they freeze the rent. But you're going to end up spending that same money in order to keep yourself cool in the summer and to keep yourself warm in the winter, as Green New Deal nonsense, idiocy, threatens to skyrocket the cost of energy in New York State and in New York City. The experts are already giving the warning. The people who handle the energy infrastructure in the state of New York, they are already warning elected officials. These policies that you have implemented run the risk of skyrocketing energy costs to astronomical levels. And so now, instead of getting rid of these ignorant Green New Deal policies, they are now placing the burden on the taxpayer to endure discomfort, to basically risk their lives to make up for the poor decision making of liberal, radical, socialist leadership in New York over the past several decades. Let's get into this, y'all. Thank you for being here tonight. Share the link. Hit the like button. Contribute to the stream. You know, we got our $5 challenge. We're looking for 5 contributions of $5 or more to make the night a success, baby. But I'm here with you for the next couple of hours. Let's get into this. Let's watch Zohran Mamdani beg New Yorkers to make up for the mistakes of failed leadership in New York over the past several decades. Zohran, you have the floor.
And to every business owner, please set your thermostats to 78 degrees to alleviate the stress on our power grid. Every worker in New York City has the right to a safe workplace, and that includes safety in extreme heat. For New Yorkers looking...
Socialist Mayor Zohran Mamdani has a solution to beat the heat. He told New Yorkers, set your AC to 78 degrees, turn off lights and electronics you're not using, and unplug what you can. Everyone roasted him from stem to stern, with people saying this is so out of touch. One user posting 78 degrees. Welcome to communism, people. Another writing, do you feel the warmth of collectivism yet? One post calls out Mamdani voters and says, I have texted all my coworkers who voted for Zohran to send me a photo of their AC set to 78. And former LA mayoral hopeful Spencer Pratt also chimed with this warning, communism always goes the same way. First, they promised you the world, free this, free that, abundance for all. How? Don't ask. And they get into power and the rationing begins. First a smiley ask, then a demand. Then you use too much energy, comrade. My favorite troll, actually, Kennedy, was Spencer Pratt's tweet where he said,
all right, so I gotta interrupt it here because that's our boy, Spencer Pratt. He basically was scammed out of, the mayorship of the city of LA, but I am a resident of LA County. So I got to show love. Spencer Pratt is 100% right. Spencer Pratt is not even someone who would be identified as a staunch conservative. But even in the city of Los Angeles, people understand socialism is a failure. That is why even though we elected a socialist mayor, Karen Bass, last term, her socialist garbage quickly was thrown out the window. In the more extreme socialist, Nithya Raman has absolutely no chance of defeating her in November. But Spencer Pratt is 100% on point with his assessment of socialism. He says communism always goes the same way. They smile and promise you the world, free this, free that, abundance for all. How? Don't ask us. Just vote for us. Just give us power. And we'll show you how we're going to do it once we get elected. Then they get into power and the rationing begins. First a smiley ask, then a demand, then a bullet. You use too much energy, comrade. Now, isn't this what we've been saying about socialism for all these months? Didn't we tell you that the minute you elect these socialists and put them in power, you're going to have less of what you want, less of what you need, and they're really not going to have any explanation for you needing to give up the things that you want and need so that they could stay in power? Why in the hell does a city as rich as New York City need its residents to suffer in blistering heat in the middle of the summer? This is officially summer. We all knew it was going to get hot in the summer, right? We do know, we are alive. We have been here for decades. We do know it gets hot in the summer, right? Even a 5-year-old child knows that summer means hot. But see, here's the problem. You elect politicians who attempt to defy the laws of nature. They attempt to overthrow or destroy or conquer the proven logic and rational thinking that has prevailed in this country for so long and replace it with ideology, illogical, irrational, ideologue thinking and policies. They literally destroyed their energy sources. They replaced it with wind energy and solar power, things that they know are incredibly unreliable. And now when it gets hot, the grid is overwhelmed. And now they have to come to you and say, yeah, I'm going to need you to sit in a hot ass house. 78 degrees. Isn't that when you turn the AC on? When it gets about 70 to 80, isn't that when you say, hey, turn that air conditioner on? It's getting hot. They want you to suffer through that. Why? Because France is suffering through it. A bunch of Euro trash policies, failed policies in countries you would never want to live in. You have them trying to turn America into failed European, into the spitting image of a failed European state.
Mr. Pratt's tweet where he said, show us your thermostat, commie.
Exactly.
And that's what we all want to see. Show us the proof, buddy.
Yeah, go ahead and...
Zohran Mamdani, the communist Muslim mayor of New York City, who's from Uganda, not American, he wants people in New York City to set their thermostats to 78 degrees. I want to see a picture of your thermostat, you stupid motherfucker, because you know good and damn well you are not living in 78 degrees Fahrenheit. 78 degrees. I don't even think the air conditioning goes to 78. That's called the heat, Zohran. I know you come from Uganda, okay? And I know you don't really understand air conditioning because in your third world shithole, they don't have air conditioning. But we, in the first world, we use something called air conditioning, and it doesn't start anywhere close to 78. I keep my house at 65, frankly. I like it cold.
So
Hey, I keep my house at 65 too. I think most Americans keep their house at about 65 degrees. We would rather put a jacket on than live in 80-degree weather. That's just the facts. That's just the truth. I'm trying to keep this moving because I'm probably going to end up clipping this later on and posting the segments tomorrow. But when a lie is told, I have to address the lie. That is the one thing you can count on on this channel. When a lie is told, Defiant Brandon himself will address that lie. The devil is a liar. The lie flees when the truth shows up. That's what my grandma used to tell me. Somebody in the comments said, if oil is the way to energy independence, then why are our prices going up because of Iran? But guys, prices are down. What are you talking about? Prices were up when we were fighting our conflict in Iran. But as soon as the conflict ended, which I think the prices going up was mostly due to price gouging by oil companies, guess what? Prices are down. What is the price of a barrel of oil today? The person who wrote this comment could never tell you. The price of a barrel of oil is between $68 and $71. That is like record low. Oil is the price of a barrel of oil is low. And the beauty of using fossil fuels is that as the situation changes, the price of fossil fuels, it can go up relatively quickly, but it also can go down very quickly. What does it take to make the price of solar energy or wind energy go down? Incredibly unreliable, and the price always remains the same. And I don't mean it, I'm not going to say it remains the same. It always trends up. You've never heard someone say, well, solar energy and wind energy, the price is going down. The price is always going up because our infrastructure was built on fossil fuels. And the cleanest source, the cleanest, most efficient source of fuel on earth is nuclear. So if they were really trying to give you cheaper energy prices, they would be working towards selling you nuclear energy. But they don't want to do that because if they created a grid that was based on nuclear energy, It would be impossible for them to charge you astronomical prices for energy. So let's make it clear. None of these politicians wants to really, truly lower your energy costs. None of them. They want to be able to charge you enough so that they, in some way, shape, or form, could take a cut off the top. If they just wanted you to have the cheapest energy available, you would be running on nuclear. And you know who already was running on nuclear? France. But then when the Green New Scam came along, they started preaching all this nonsense about the Green New Deal. And somehow, because French people are ignorant, they tricked their population into believing that wind and solar energy was somehow more efficient and cheaper than nuclear energy, which is an absolute lie. But France is a cesspool. But my question to you is, why are you voting for people that are trying to make your country more like France? It's a failed state. It's overrun by illegal immigrants that are legal and illegal. It's crap. French people want to leave. My mechanic is French. He just came out. He left France for America about 5 years ago. He said he'll never go back. He said he will never go back. And he's half black. France is a failed state, and cities, mayors, and governors around America are trying to make their states and their cities like a failed European country. Crazy.
By last week's record-breaking heat wave. Its public health agency estimates that more than 1,000 additional deaths were linked to the scorching temperatures that took place from Wednesday to Friday last week.
Oh yeah, this video is highlighting how thousands of people are in France right now as we speak dying because they have a record heat wave. And guess what? The French don't have AC. The French don't have AC. The French people gave up air conditioning to quote unquote save the planet. So while little tiny France, while thousands of people are dying in little tiny France, China with billions of people is just polluting like there's no tomorrow. India with billions of people is just polluting like there's no tomorrow. So like a couple of million people in France think are giving up AC and literally dying from the heat, thinking that they're going to change or save the planet, while billions upon billions of people in China and India are just polluting like there's no tomorrow. China and India are polluting more than all first world countries combined, like 10 times as much than all first world countries combined. Why is no one going over there saying, hey, you guys have to stop polluting? Somehow little itty bitty France and little itty bitty New York is going to offset the pollution of China and India. It's the biggest scam in our lifetime.
France is warning its death toll will likely rise as more details are learned about those affected by last week's record-breaking heat wave. Its public health agency estimates that more than 1,000 additional deaths were linked to the scorching temperatures that took place from Wednesday to Friday last week.
It's the heat wave that finally changes French minds about air conditioning. Well, definitely not for the country's environment minister. Take a listen.
Je suis horrifiée par les gens qui me disent « Ah, mais il n'y a qu'à mettre la clim partout. » Très bien, on va mettre la clim partout. Vous croyez que...
Now she's speaking in French, but what this idiot is saying is, I am horrified that people are now saying, let's put air conditioning everywhere. I can mute her voice and read it. This is the type of delusion. You got thousands of people all around you dying. Elderly people, even some people who are not elderly. And you're not horrified by that. You're horrified by someone saying, hey, maybe we should put some air conditioning in these buildings so people aren't dropping dead from the heat. And we got the liberals in the chat. They don't believe in facts. Okay, I am horrified by people that tell me, let's just put AC everywhere. okay, let's put AC everywhere. Do you really believe that that will stop a forest fire? Do you really believe that that will stop animals dying? What do you think it will prevent? No, it won't stop animals from dying, but it'll stop people from dying. But this is what I'm trying to explain to you guys. These people are, they're lunatics. This woman said 1,000 old people dying is worth it. It's worth it. So that we can stop forest fires. Lady, I'm in California. You ain't stopped a single forest fire. You have not stopped a single forest fire anywhere in the world by letting grandma die from heat stroke. I mean, if you guys really listen to these people when they're talking, the only person who could go for this is like a college kid. Because a regular adult person is like, wait, 1,000 people dying is worth it to stop a forest fire? The fire department stops forest fires. Why do grandma and grandpa have to die? Why do Nona and freaking Pawpaw have to die? Just delusional, man. And this is where Zohran Mamdani is trying to take New York City.
France 24's debate as well was skeptical at best.
What we need is not an AC. What we need is comfortable places. It's like if you have skin cancer and the doctor will give you cream. What will happen to you? You will die.
It's time to question the fact that we use always more technology to solve problems that technology itself has created.
Yeah.
We're using technology to solve problems that technology created. Listen, technology didn't create global warming or what they're now calling it, climate change, because they've discovered that the world's not actually getting hotter. They've rediscovered that the earth goes through periods where it heats and periods where it cools. Do you remember the ice age? The earth cooled, right? You know that the earth had to warm for the ice to melt, right? Or we would still be in an ice age right now. There was literally no pollution at that time because there weren't even, I think there might have been some human, I'm not even sure, but there weren't many human beings. If there were, we need to get the facts on that. Were there human beings living during the ice age? See how easy it is if you want to know something. Yes, there were humans during the ice age. Okay, 300,000 years ago. So yes, human beings were here. There were humans on the planet during the ice age, right? Without any human impact, the earth somehow heated up to the point where the ice melted and receded back into the oceans of today. So are you seriously going to sit up and say human beings are causing global warming? Bro, the earth been warming and cooling since before human beings stepped foot on this planet. So what are you talking about? But as long as they can rely on you not to do any research at all, they'll just keep stealing from you. It's like someone who says, hey, you got to always take your car to the dealership to get fixed. Until you wake up and smell the damn coffee and say, you know what, this is too expensive. I need to seek another option. The dealership will just continue to take your money and charge you triple, quadruple, quintuple the cost of something because they know they got a sucker on their hand. And that's what we're dealing with. These people are nickel and diming the American citizen into poverty because Americans refuse to do the research for themselves.
President's going to give a speech. He says, it's not going to bother me. It's going to be hot, 107 degrees. I'm going to give a speech.
He's going to give a very long speech.
Right, yeah.
We're like, no, please don't.
Right.
Not too long.
Right. Yeah, I know. Mayor Mamdani also weighed in on the heat. He has a recommendation for us. It's unbelievable.
Well, we've had blackouts here in New York, and I've lived through one of those where the power goes out because the grid can't handle it all.
Starts.
Yes. And so Mamdani was roasted online because he told New Yorkers to set their air conditioners to 78 degrees. This is what he wrote in part on X. He
That's
says,
when you put it on.
Yeah, New York, it's hot out there, and the power grid is working overtime to keep us cool. Set your AC to 78 degrees. Turn off lights, electronics you're not using, and unplug what you can. Let's ease demand and get through the heat together.
I just
So now he's being roasted.
By the way, when it's 78 degrees, that's why you usually put the AC on, but not in communist New York City. Dave Portnoy weighed in. He'll be a guest a little bit later on. He goes, 78 degrees. Welcome to communism, people. Hope you enjoy it.
You got one user said, do you feel that warmth of the collectivism yet?
And then you have Jack Mack, who writes, I have texted all my coworkers who voted for Zohran Mamdani to send me a photo of their AC set at 78 degrees.
I don't think he was joking, though.
He's not joking.
He's not joking at all. I think we should take him seriously. This is just step one of little Mamdani. He also is supposed to, Ainsley, be counter-programming because he's going to give his own 4th of July speech. I guarantee you it's not going to be a
Some said, as long as Times Square's on, I'm keeping my AC on.
Of course.
Mayor Zohran Mamdani taking some.
So here's the thing. People are like, he's like, lower your thermostat to 78 degrees. No one's going to do that. This is not France where they could just say it's illegal to have an air conditioner. There are people with AC. Even the liberals, even the libtards in my comments, they're not going to give up their AC. So do you see how this is just pure ignorance and hypocrisy? They're not going to give up their AC to save the planet, but they'll just dismiss the deaths of other people who are dying because their government, their authoritarian, draconian government, has forced them to give up AC. Now they're dying. Thousands of people in France, and you want to make this like France. It ain't going to happen. But what do we know about the socialists? First, they come with a smile, and they ask you to do something. And then, guess what? The teeth come later. Look at how they did the landlords. Oh, yeah, we want to lower. They said affordability. Affordability became rent freezes. Next, rent freezes are going to become property confiscation. What's next? We going to shoot you in the street if you disagree with what we say? It's already going down that road. And the people are still cheering, but they can't even tell you what they're getting. For all the inconvenience that Zohran Mamdani has caused you, what have you gained? What have you gained? The sidewalks filled with trash? The snow not even getting clear from the streets? So bro could freeze the rent on just 40% of the apartments in New York. So the landlords could say, hey, they froze the rent on my apartment over on 5th Street. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to raise the rent on my apartment over on 8th Street. None of this no liberal can explain this to you. You have the internet just like I do. You see the way these conversations go. As soon as the person who's interviewing starts asking the tough questions, what do they say? I don't want to do this anymore. Time and time again, they have proven to you. They're not thinking this stuff through. They're just voting for what sounds good at the time. And then when it inevitably ends up hurting them, they're just going to complain, oh, this isn't fair. Well, life's not fair to a dumbass. You're always going to be on the losing end if you don't think things through. That's the reality. New York voted for this affordability. The affordability is being canceled out because now their energy costs are going to skyrocket.
Heat right now from conservative figures and folks in the media after he posted an advisory online telling people to set their thermostats to 78 degrees. They're calling him a commie in some cases for saying that, even though the U.S. Department of Energy has the same guidance. Is the science on Mamdani's side here?
Oh, of course. Sorry. Of course the science is on his side. Everybody.
Bill Nye, not even a real scientist. Follow the science as it is told to us by a fake scientist. They're at the point where they can't even get real, credible scientific minds to come on these shows because the real scientists, they don't want to lose credibility. So they're bringing Bill Nye on. I do not know a single official who tells you keep your thermostat at 78 in the middle of a heat wave. That might be the ask or the recommendation just during normal everyday activity, normal weather. But I have never seen any advisory. Hey, people are dying from heat stroke. Make sure you keep your thermostat at 78 degrees. That you live in America. You work hard every day and you pay taxes. Through the payment of those taxes, you earn the right to say, you know what? It's a little hotter than normal. Let me dial the thermostat up. You know, it's a little cooler than normal. Let me turn the thermostat down, right? That's reverse that. It's a little hotter than normal. Let me turn the thermostat down. It's a little cooler than normal. Let me turn the thermostat up. As an American, you've earned that right. You got your money going all over the world to pay all these damn people, pay for all this crap. USAID, so transgender people can have buses in Uganda and all this nonsense. We have enough money to pay for everybody else's bullshit. The least they could give us is the ability to turn our damn thermostat to the setting we want it on. But do you ever notice they'll never? But let me say this. Let me ask you this: why Bernie Sanders won't let his private jet sit in the freaking stall and take and fly coach to save the environment? I'll wait. Why can't John Kerry take a regular airplane when he goes all hopping all around the world to push the climate change agenda? See, because when you live in a elitist society, the rules only apply to one group of people. You want me to turn my thermostat to 78 degrees? Stop allowing politicians to fly in private jets. Because that private jet in 3 hours is going to pollute more than my thermostat for the whole summer. But they don't care about that. It's pure hypocrisy.
Buddy, if you don't run the air conditioning systems as strongly, as powerfully, you will use less electricity. That's not rocket surgery. That's intuitive. Just how much can humans tolerate and still be productive? This is the question. And everybody, what I think is happening with these heat events is we're going to get used to them in the same way we used to be used to snow days, where people just stay home. Just don't go, and some people venture out in the snow, but people become less productive, less business gets done, and so on. I think the same thing's going to happen with these heat events, but it is very, very serious because of public health and so on. And there's a problem we have now where we're using a tremendous amount of electricity to not only air condition our living spaces, but also to run these data centers. This is a serious biz, and everybody, science guys here. We'll have a prop. Intuitively, you might.
Right. He's the science guy because he's not a real scientist. Now, let me ask you this question. And if you're liberal and you believe in this nonsense, I want you to listen, because I'm going to teach you how to use logic and rational thinking to help you make political decisions. If solar and wind energy is so much more efficient, if solar and wind energy is so abundant and it's efficient and it's safe and it's cheap, go buy you a Tesla. Why does it matter that we're using more electricity? Shouldn't you be able to use solar and wind energy to create as much electricity as we need? They can't. They lied to you. They lied to you. And they've been doing this for decades. Do you guys remember when they tried to sell you the hydrogen fuel cell cars? If you know about cars, you remember this. They brought out all these cars, hydrogen fuel cell technology, right? The people who bought those cars were straight suckers, because now they have those cars and can't even find a place to fill them up. And the few places that they do have to fill up the hydrogen fuel cell car, they're always down. The pumps are never working. It is very hard to introduce a new source of energy. And let me tell you something about capitalism. Let me tell you something about capitalism if you didn't know. Capitalism has explored all these options. And if these options were better, more viable, more efficient, cheaper, believe me, the laws of capitalism at work would dictate that there would have been some private entity that would have already introduced these energy technologies, and they would have already been making a profit off of it. So now but it's not more efficient. It's actually very cumbersome and inefficient. So now what they've done is they've sold you the climate change hoax. And now the government is subsidizing companies that would never survive without government subsidies to trick you into believing that wind and solar energy is the future. Those people make billions, the politicians get their kickbacks, and you get to foot the bill. You didn't learn from Obama when he gave green energy companies billions of dollars, and as soon as they cashed the checks, what did they do? They filed for bankruptcy. They got your taxpayer money, and they filed for bankruptcy and stopped offering you the service. And then when Obama left, not even under Trump, under Biden, those companies were allowed to come back into Washington, make deals with the Democrats again, and they're running the scam on you all over again. You are being hit with the same scam over and over.
Presume that more liquid could travel through, let's see if we get it in front of something dark. More liquid could travel through this big straw than this little straw. I think intuitively we could all accept that. Well, the same is true of power. The same is true of power lines. So bigger power line, bigger around power line can carry generally more electricity than a thinner one. And
man,
because of the woke.
And this is the type of stupid stuff liberals listen to and scream, follow the science. Bill Nye is a damn idiot. He don't know. I know more science than this idiot. But y'all believe it because I watched it when I was growing up when I was little.
Climate.
I watched it when I was little. No, you're just dumb. You just peaked at the third grade. You just peaked at the third grade intellectually, and so you're falling for things that no normal human being will fall for. Now here comes Mamdani. See, if you notice, it's just one big dishonest narrative that is reinforced by the mainstream media, quack fake scientists like Bill Maher, Zohran Mamdani, Kathy Hochul, people like Joe Biden, Jill Biden, Kamala Harris. They just keep telling it to you. Because why? Because they're getting rich off of it. They're invested in these companies. And in many cases, they're getting direct kickbacks from these companies.
Is opposing any new fossil fuel construction, and it's part of a commitment to taking on the climate crisis.
And in a case like that, I mean, there's litigation, there's people who are really going to be taking sides. So as mayor, your voice will really carry pretty far in that conversation. Do you plan to be part of that conversation?
I think I'll always make my thoughts clear as I have done now and will continue to do so. And I also look forward to the working relationship that I have with the governor, which is one that has been focused on the affordability crisis and how to deliver for New Yorkers.
Has that been part of the conversation?
Not as yet. No, the focus has been more on universal child care and the affordability agenda that I ran on.
70% of our electricity will come from renewables by 2030. 70%.
Listen. For universal child care. Universal child care. Okay, this is what I'm trying to tell you. The more they try to introduce free stuff, the more people who work are going to have to pay. So everything that you think you're going to get free is going to cancel out. Zohran Mamdani is about to bankrupt the city of New York to give every 2-year-old in New York City free child care. What happens when they turn 3? What do you do while they're 1? Or when they're 11 months or 12 months? Just stupid stuff. His universal child care isn't even for all children. It's just for kids that are 2 years old. So we're going to give you a break for 1 year of their life. And once you get through that year, you're going to be back on the hook again for the child care. But no one is looking at the details. No one is looking at the details. Zohran is pulling the trick on y'all that me and my brother used to pull on my little sisters when they were little. They would have my mom would give us all like $1 or $2 to go to the store, right? Me and my brother would take 4 quarters and be like, look, 4 is more than 2. So don't you want to trade me that 2 for this 4? Well, they're dumb. They don't know anything. They're little. In their mind, they're like, well, yeah, on the surface, technically, 4 is more than 2. But they don't understand the context. They don't understand that one $5 bill is worth way more than 4 quarters. And when someone is young and they're a young child with like a single-digit IQ or double-digit IQ, that works on them. But then they grow up and realize, hey, you've been getting over on me. Liberals are like children, young children who never grew up. This guy is saying, yeah, we're going to give all the 2-year-olds free childcare. Cool. But what are you going to do a year after that? What are you going to do the year before that? What are you going to do for the next 18 years that follow? But they're not thinking about that. They hear the word free, which it really ain't free because your taxes is going to go up. They hear the term free and they vote for it. All right, it's free, cool. It's the most ignorant way of thinking. Now listen to Kathy Hochul. She's good at begging. Zohran's good at selling bullshit, and Kathy Hochul is good at begging to help reduce the impact of the bullshit
that I ran on.
70% of our electricity will come from renewables by 2030. 70%. And we used to talk about 2030 as if it was like off into the future. That's right around the corner.
New York is the first state to pass a law banning natural gas and fossil fuels in new buildings, setting up the stage for the erosion of gas stoves in the state. The New York State Legislature passed a multi-billion-dollar budget prohibiting gas hookups in most new homes and other constructed buildings. Similar calls have made it to the national level, bringing the topic of banning gas stoves to center stage. A provision in the budget will help the state transition from fossil fuel consumption by phasing in new electric-only requirements for new buildings beginning in 2025. The law effectively requires all electric heating and cooking in new buildings shorter than 7 stories by 2026. Though hospitals...
Now listen, now they've passed, a while back they passed this legislation that said all new buildings in New York, they would not have any gas lines. There will be no fossil fuels used to heat these buildings or to run to the gas stoves or anything, right? They passed this law a couple years back. Now we get to 2026 when the law goes into effect where you can't build a building with gas lines anymore. Now you got the mayor saying, hey, the grid is overwhelmed. So they passed these laws, right, to keep up with the failed states in Europe in the Green New Deal. Now that the deadline has hit for them to fully rely on, their electrical this and the electrical that and, the renewable energy powered solar panel electricity, right? Solar energy. Now they're struggling. The grid never was built up to the point where it could handle the regulations that they've signed into law. No, listen. Somebody said he's lying. How am I lying? Kathy Hochul just told you. Look, She
part of
just
the
told you.
conversation?
Not as yet. No, the focus has been more on universal child
Let's
care
go back.
and the affordability agenda that I ran on.
70% of our electricity will come from renewables by 2030. 70%. And we used to talk.
She said, this is legislation she signed. 70% of our energy will come from renewables by 2030. So she signed into law. We're gonna no more gas lines in apartments. Everything's electric by 2026. Right? New buildings. Here come 2026. Now they begging you to turn your thermostat down.
Talk about 2030 as if it was like off into the future. That's right around the corner.
New York is the first state to pass a law banning natural gas and fossil fuels in new buildings, setting up the stage for the erosion of gas stoves in the state. The New York State Legislature passed a multi-billion-dollar budget prohibiting gas hookups in most new homes and other constructed buildings. Similar calls have made it to the national level, bringing the topic of banning gas stoves to center stage. A provision in the budget will help the state transition from fossil fuel consumption by phasing in new electric-only requirements for new buildings beginning in 2025. The law effectively requires all electric heating and cooking in new buildings shorter than 7 stories by 2026. Though hospitals, critical infrastructure, and commercial food establishments are exempt from the requirements, and existing buildings and appliances will not be affected by the law. In New York, gas fuels almost half of the state's electricity. However, the Climate Leadership and Community Protection Act, one of the country's most ambitious climate laws, establishes the state's goals of reducing economy-wide greenhouse gas emissions by 40% by 2030. New York's law is consistent with the Biden administration's broader goal to slash greenhouse gas emissions.
I announced the United States made a new commitment under the Paris Agreement to cut our emissions by 50 to 52% by the end of this decade.
Now, of New York's push for clean energy, it's sparking both innovation and frustration, too. CBS 6's Brianna Sapardi connects the big picture to what's playing out here in the capital region. She's live in the studio tonight with that. Good evening, Bree.
Good evening, Tom. The University at Albany hosted dozens of energy leaders this week, focusing on how to better harness weather-driven resources like solar and wind. But here in our area, communities are already wrestling with what those changes mean, and they're not always on the same page. At UAlbany's Renewable Energy Pathways Conference, the message was clear. Solar and wind are New York's most abundant energy sources and a critical key to sustainable and affordable energy.
Wind and solar are giant sources, much bigger than oil or nuclear in potential.
Right now, New York is working to harness that potential, trying to balance ambitious state goals with reality on the ground.
In what is an election year, Governor Kathy Hochul has been talking an awful lot lately about reducing costs for New Yorkers, but a leaked memo from state energy officials revealed.
Wait, before we get to the leaked memo. So understand, what are Democrats running on right now? They're running on affordability. You are going to be able to live a little easier in these major Democrat-run cities. We are going to lower prices for you. But what you don't realize, if you're not a smart person, they're just setting you up for communism. Let's put in the community grocery store, in the community food pantry. Why? Because you're going to need it. I don't know about you guys, but my electricity bill is not lower. It's going up. It's increasing exponentially every year. So what they're saying is we're going to put more strain on the already strained electrical grid, and somehow they are doing a good job of lying to the liberals of New York, because they've convinced these people that that's actually going to make prices lower. More strain on an already strained grid is somehow going to make prices lower? It doesn't even make sense. It makes absolutely no sense. And everybody in this chat is paying more for electricity than they were paying for electricity 2 years ago. Well, no. Well, yeah, about two years ago. You damn sure paying more than you were paying 10 years ago. So how is an already strained electrical grid going to support even more things, even more appliances, even more apartments converting over to 100% electric?
reveals that if the state doesn't scale down its climate agenda, utility costs could soar in New York. Channel 2's Dave McKinley got a chance to speak to the governor today about it, and as she was visiting Western New York. David?
Scott, that memo from NYSERDA claims the marketplace can't even yet provide enough renewable energy to meet New York's climate goals, and that they would push already high energy prices soaring into the stratosphere. Mandates for electric vehicles, all electric buildings, heat pumps, and other measures while relying on emissions-free means like wind and solar to generate power could add about $4,000 a year to the average energy costs of state residents, according to the New York State Energy Research and Development Authority, which also predicts existing climate goals could push gasoline costs in New York to more than $2 a gallon above existing prices when implemented. Well, isn't it time to pump the brakes then on some of these mandates?
I think you're going to wait till you're called
on. If they're demonstrably going to show that it's going to
I think we're going to take one at a time and follow some decorum here.
So the reporters are calling her out. They know because they're seeing the studies, right? Coming from the people who run the energy grid of New York State. They see the reports. And they're like, well, if you know this is actually going to make everything more expensive, why aren't you stopping this? Why aren't you pumping the brakes on this if you know where it's going? You know where it's headed. They're ideologues. It doesn't matter if you die. It doesn't matter if this raises your prices 50 or 60 or 70% your costs of living, as long as they can say, well, I did it. And that's exactly what Zohran Mamdani does. He's literally just checking points off of a list. Did that, did this, did that, did this, did this, did that. That's it. He just wants to say he did it. But he's never going to talk about the impact, the negative impact, or the negative repercussions of it. As long as he can say, I did it. That's all he's focused on. I did it. That's it. It is a very selfish and ignorant way of thinking. But this is why these people are 34, 33, 32 years old. Once you get a little older, you realize like this shit don't make no sense. Because they're doing it for self. They're doing it for them. Their personal, their personal benefit. They're not doing it for you. They're not there for the people. They're there for the ideology. They're there so they can tell people, well, I froze the rent when I was mayor. But they're not going to bring up the negative impact of it. And then like Kathy Hochul, when this lawyer asked her, well, don't you think you should pump the brakes on this? She tries to deflect.
Stratosphere. Mandates for electric vehicles, all electric buildings, heat pumps, and other measures while relying on emissions-free means like wind and solar to generate power could add about $4,000 a year to the average energy costs of state residents, according to the New York State Energy Research and Development Authority.
$4,000 a year for every resident. Switching to full reliability on wind and solar could cost every resident of New York State $4,000 more a year, bro. What the hell type of affordability is that?
Authority, which also predicts existing climate goals could push gasoline costs in New York to more than $2 a gallon above existing prices when implemented. Well, isn't it time to pump the brakes then on some of these mandates?
I think you're going to wait till you're called on.
If they're demonstrably going to show that it's going to
I think we're going to take one at a time and follow some decorum here.
When decorum resumed, she acknowledged she'll be speaking to legislators about how to meet the goals without breaking people's bank accounts.
Back in 2019, there were very ambitious goals.
She claimed problems in meeting them are due to the pandemic, which ended 5 years ago, and inflation.
Wind and solar became too expensive, so they were abandoned by people.
But she also blames the Trump administration for pulling back on taxpayer subsidies for renewables amid what it called were concerns about their high costs and inefficiency.
Offshore wind shut down by the Trump administration. Solar projects, the subsidies are gone. Now we have the Trump war in Iran that is going to increase the costs of energy from that as well.
Now listen, her own experts in her own state are telling her trying to switch to renewables, right, to renewable energy, solar and wind, will cost every New York resident $4,000 more a year, right? Then she says, Trump stopped the offshore wind. Trump stopped the solar panels, right? That's because Trump actually listens to the experts. You're defying the experts. You're defying the people who are have expertise in this field just so you can fulfill a political promise. That's going to have a negative impact on people in the long run, right? So what Trump says and is doing falls in line with what the experts in your own state are saying. But he somehow is the bad guy. Trump is a far better leader than these people. These people don't care about what really works in people's cost of living. As long as they get to say, I did it, and they could survive long enough to finish out their term, they don't care what happens afterwards.
The governor visited Western New York today to hold a roundtable on federal tariffs with local small to mid-sized businesses, for which, according to NYSERDA, they could see their utility costs increase by as much as 46% to meet the state's climate goals. On your side of the newsroom, Dave McKinley, Channel 2 News.
Yeah, see, now you heard that. Now, this is the conversation that the socialists don't want to have.
Yeah, and Greg is right. This is the conversation. I'll let Greg talk for a second.
Sacrifice and say, hey, well, as you guys just witnessed, they promise that they're going to make your life better, right? Your life is going to be better because of socialism, because of the Green New Scam, okay? But yet, Zohran is asking you to sacrifice and say, hey, well, you can't really use your AC as much as you'd like to during this time of extreme weather, right? And at the same time, cost of energy are going up, even though they claim that the renewable energy scam would lower costs, but is actually not lowering costs, is actually increasing costs. Okay, so your life is not better and your life is not affordable. Now, at the same time, again, New York has deliberately retired fossil fuel generation. Over the last decade, you have coal plants that have been shut down. You have several older oil and natural gas plants that have been shut down and retired because of the emission standards, right? So the regulations, okay, have forced them to shut down. The Indian Point Energy Center nuclear plant closed in 2021. You have New York going full Green New Scam, and in a time where you need electricity the most, when you need energy the most, during times of extreme weather, extreme climate, whatever you want to call it, the renewables are not reliable. They're not reliable. Same story in Europe, almost the exact same story in Europe.
Yep.
Ain't it funny how that works, right? It's funny how that works. And this is what I've been warning people about for the past few weeks. I've been pointing and I've been saying, okay, if you really want to see what this country is going to be like, right, under socialists, under communists, just look at Western Europe. In fact, I've been saying this much longer than the past few weeks. Okay. I just have.
Yeah, we all have. And now New York is literally in a state. Oh, the state, the city that is supposed to, be this shining example of affordability has just declared an energy emergency. Think about that. They just declared an energy emergency. Literally, what New York has done in eliminating their fossil fuel production, there's a great chance that it will literally offset every single affordability scam lie that Zohran Mamdani has told. Everything that he's claiming to be saving you with his affordability measures, which are actually just putting you in debt, is at risk of being offset by this this energy scam. This guy is killing me. I didn't see Eric Adams doing an energy emergency. But this is what happens when your only goal is to check the box. Your only goal is to be able to say, yo, I did that. I got that done. Now the fallout. Now we get it done, and then we try and now we're trying to manage the fallout of it. It should have never been done in the first place.
Delivery workers, and day laborers. Last week, I signed an executive order focused on protecting workers from the hazards of heat. Our administration is hard at work, developing guidelines that will keep workers safe. While we finalize these guidelines, I want to urge all employers in New York City to develop those plans to protect your employees. It is not enough to say that they can take breaks when their paycheck is on the line. Workers cannot cool down when they have quotas to meet. They cannot go into a cooling center when they are on the clock. Please make a point of ensuring that your employees know their rights and that they will not face consequences for staying safe. And to every business owner, please set your thermostats to 78 degrees to alleviate the stress on our power grid. Every worker in New York City has the right to a safe workplace, and that includes safety in extreme heat.
He's literally telling companies, keep your employees cool as we ask you to make the workspace or workplace hotter. This guy is a dumbass.
For New Yorkers looking for other ways to stay cool, our Parks Department offers hundreds of stray showers and thousands of drinking fountains across the 5 boroughs. They also maintain about 50 free outdoor swimming pools with general hours of operation between 11 a.m. and 7 p.m. And during the heat emergency, Olympic and intermediate-sized pools will be open until 8 p.m. To find one near you, go to nycgovparks.org/facilities. Our 14 miles of public beaches will also remain open during this heat wave, with lifeguards on duty between 10 a.m. and 6 p.m. And for those who want to keep cool with a fire hydrant, anyone 18 or older can obtain a free city-approved fire hydrant spray cap from their local firehouse. However you plan to spend these next few days, the best way to...
Mamdani is like, if you want to be cooler, go let yourself get sprayed with the dirty-ass fire hydrant water, because we've basically destroyed our energy grid so you can't turn the AC up. Guys, listen to this bullshit. Go to the park and let us hit you with the water hose in 100-degree heat because you can't turn the AC up because we've destroyed your energy grid. And remember, we got the law coming through now. The legislation coming through saying no more fossil fuel run apartments. Only electric. All electric buildings. There can be no building built under 7 stories that is being heated or that allows you to cook with gas. It's all electric. So now even more strain. I mean, listen, even more strain. And I see you, whatever your name is, Southwest Medical Grow. The whole difference between what you're saying and what I'm talking about is the red states are not signing draconian legislation. Red states let you use whatever type of fuel you want to. Hey, if you want to hook your house up to where it's all electric, go ahead. If you want to run your house on gas, go ahead. Bro, people, ultimately at the end of the day, people should be allowed to use whatever type of fuel source they want. That's the reality. And all the people who want to save the environment can use solar and wind, right? And all the people who want to have a normal existence can use gas, a mixture. Gas, electric, right? And if they want to, they could even use some solar and they could use some wind, right? But see, that's not good enough for communism. Communism has to make everyone suffer equally. Because if they say, well, everybody who wants to use electric, you just use electric and we good. If they say that, the people using electric will soon realize, damn, man, this shit is getting expensive. And the guy over there using fossil fuel, his price is going down. The price of fuel is going down. A barrel of oil is like $61. The cost is going down as the cost of electric continues to rise. People are like this. Trump raised our gas prices. Trump raised our prices because of the Iran war. Well, what raised the electric prices? And now that the gas prices are going down because the Iran conflict is, at a standstill, right? Now that gas, a barrel of oil is back in the 60s, why isn't the cost of electricity going down? That's the scam. That's the scam. They want you to switch to electric. They want you to switch to 100% electric. Why? Because they could hit your ass harder in the pocket. They can flip a switch and say, oh, your energy bill just went up. Renewables isn't really something that is like a world market. It's not something that's dictated by what goes on around the globe. I like fossil fuel because everyone is kind of involved. It affects the whole planet. So if it gets too ridiculous, other countries will say, whoa, those prices are too high. Y'all tripping, right? But renewables is pretty much something that's only like insulated to your country. So the more your politicians want to fuck you over, the more they can do it with renewables. Right now, Donald Trump threatened the fossil fuel companies because he said, well, Americans are paying this much for gas. They're paying this much for gas, and the price of a barrel of oil worldwide has dropped. It's dropped significantly. So why are they still paying this amount? In the same day that he said that, gas prices fell. And they've been falling ever since he said that. People, I'm telling you guys, these people, liberals, they've been totally brainwashed against their own best interest. What makes things more affordable is options, variety, the ability to use different sources of energy. That's what makes energy more affordable. But when you pigeonhole yourself into using one source of energy, now you live and die with the price of that source. I might want to have an electric stove and drive a gas-powered vehicle. Why don't I have the right to do that if that's what I want to do? Why is government telling me what type of energy I could use? What kind of car I could drive? California, by 2030, they're trying to get rid of all cars with a combustion engine. No one ever voted on that. No one ever asked me if I was cool with that. But that's socialism. They're going to make the decision for you, and you're just going to fucking deal with it. And you know what they're going to do? They're going to live out of state. They're going to go live they're either going to find a loophole or they're going to go move somewhere where none of these laws apply to them. Zohran Mamdani, he's the descendant of a bunch of goat herders. He can deal with 150-degree heat. He's built for that as a Middle Eastern person. But we're American. We ain't built for that. Pretty soon, China and India are gonna be laughing at us. Ha, look at those stupid Westerners. They care so much about a green new scam that pretty soon we're gonna be living in cardboard boxes. Because because that saves the planet. That's better for the planet. People are just dumb, bro. But so that's what I had to say about Zohran the moron. Guys, are you guys rocking
to date?
Are you guys rocking with me for another topic? Because I really want to talk about this damn Stephen A. Smith. He's really pissing me off. I do not know. Mine's at 65. Oh yeah, Zohran for sure. Probably 65 because I know that's where mine is going to be in a second. I want to talk about this damn Stephen A. Smith. Give me a 1 in the comments if you with me. If you're gonna rock with me as I curse out Stephen A. Smith. Because I am sick of his ass with this, I'm a moderate, I'm in the middle, I like balance. Stephen A. Smith is an absolute freaking joke. He's an absolute joke, and he's a liar. Stephen A. Smith is nothing but a Democrat shill trying to play the middle to convince people that he's some type of moderate or independent. Oh, I just want to be the guy who represents, the balance. He's a damn liar. He's a damn liar. And before I even get into the video, let me ask you a question. If Stephen A. Smith is such a moderate, he's such an independent, he's in the middle, right? These are the lies that he tells. If he really is who he says he is, right? If Stephen A. Smith really is who he says he is, when is the last time he voted Republican? Guys, does my mic sound like it's too loud? Give me a 1 if the sound is okay. Give me a 2 if I need to lower the mic. If Stephen A. Smith is such an independent who is in the middle, like he says, when is the last time he voted Republican? Because one thing about Stephen A. Smith is he can tell you everything Democrats are doing wrong. But when it comes down to it, he still votes Democrat. You ain't no independent. If you see the negative side of voting Democrat and can't ever really tell you, Democrats, he'll say, Democrats are doing all these things wrong. But I don't vote Republican because I just don't rock with Trump. Then you're not an independent. You're a Democrat shill. You're not someone who's a moderate. You're not someone who's going off the facts and what's best for the country. You're going off of your personal feelings about a particular candidate and really about the Republican Party. But what makes him even worse is the fact that Stephen A. sees the bull crap that the Democrat Party is doing. So he's the most dangerous type of shill. He can easily identify the scams and the BS that Democrats are doing and running. But he will still find a way to rationalize voting for them in his mind. He is the absolute worst type of liberal. I mean, at the end of the day, it's like, I could support Democrats, but if I see some blatant bull crap going on, I got to take my vote away from them. If for nothing else than to show them, hey, I see what you're doing. You need to stop. You're not going to have my support if you're doing this. But what message does it send to a party when you keep telling them, well, y'all wrong, but no matter what y'all do, I'm going to keep voting for you? What message do you think that sends to a political party? I'll wait. And this guy, oh man, he disgusts me. And people who are like conservatives, right? They're like, oh, I'm starting to like Stephen A. Smith. He makes a lot of sense. He's waking up. That's what my friend said. Oh, he's waking up. This fool ain't waking up. He's playing your ass. He's playing your ass. If you're one of these black people or one of these conservatives who's like, yeah, I'm starting to like Stephen A. Smith, you are getting hoodwinked. You are getting bamboozled. He's getting you. His trick is working on you. But it ain't going to work on me. It is not going to work on me. And so what's bringing a lot of this stuff to the light, right, is you have this situation with these quote unquote Democrat socialists, right? And they're bad. They're all bad. They're bad for the party. Their policies are already, we know the policies that could be, are going to fail. We already know that. We know the policies are a failure. So now the Democrats are having to do some soul searching. A lot of Democrats are having to look in the mirror and ask themselves, do I support the Democrat Party for what it is? Or do I support the Democratic Socialists of America in this in the prospect of getting everything free at the expense of the rich, right? Well, here's the thing. If you support the Democrat Party and you're truly in the middle, well, this means you're going to have to vote conservative now, because the Democrat Socialists are extremists, extremely to the left, right? So the Democrat Party ain't even the Democrat Party no more. They're moving further to the left. So if you're truly in the middle, that means they're leaving you behind, and you, like Elon Musk and many other people like Joe Rogan, you are now being slowly engulfed by the right wing of our political system, because the left wing is going too far it's going too far towards the extreme. How do you keep saying, I'm in the middle, I'm in the middle, I'm a moderate, I'm a independent, but you still voting for the Democrat Party no matter how extreme they get? You're not an independent. You are what they call a shill. You will vote for them no matter how bad they get. You will vote for them no matter what they do. And that in itself makes you a threat to America.
Party, you got to pay attention. You know why? Because your leadership in the House and in the Senate could be in a world of trouble. Now, I think less for Schumer in the Senate than it is for Hakeem Jeffries in the House, but nevertheless, it could happen. Remember,
Schumer's career is over, Stephen A. Right? I'm here to tell you.
I'm going to have to find another video for this.
If AOC, by the way, because of that, what does that mean? That means he's gaining traction and he's gaining power. And when we look at Mamdani and what makes him successful, let's understand this as a politician. What is he doing? He can raise money. He can organize young and progressive voters. His endorsements carry real weight now, as we've seen. He can beat the establishment, or he can beat establishment Democrats in deep blue districts. These are the kind of things that he's established already. This is 7 months on the job. And when you consider the fact that his candidates that he's endorsing are the ones winning, and Hakeem Jeffries and the candidates that he's endorsing are not winning, this is the man that was the successor of Nancy Pelosi. When Nancy Pelosi endorsed you, you usually won. If that's not the case with Hakeem Jeffries, how do you think that's going to bode well for him in the House? Just on this show, my show, Straight Shooter, with Stephen A., when we had Senator Alyssa Slotkin on the show the other day, she talked about new leadership being needed within the Democratic Party. Knowing that Hakeem Jeffries and Chuck Schumer are there already. Now, Chuck Schumer's been around a long time, and few raise money better and more effectively. But who knows what's going to happen if AOC, Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez, the representative out of the Bronx, who knows what's going to happen if her and Zohran Mamdani really become a partnership and a pair? And he's out there campaigning on her behalf. What is that going to translate into? These are the kind of things that we got to concern ourselves with now. If you're a Democrat in the United States, particularly in New York City, Zohran Mamdani is coming. And if he's coming, what does that mean for the rest of America? Because I got questions.
Nah, you don't have any questions, Stephen A. Smith. You don't have any questions. You don't need to ask the Democrat Party what they're going to do. You need to be asking yourself what you're going to do as a loyal Democrat voter. The politicians are going to do what politicians do, whatever it takes to survive. But if they do absolutely nothing, you as a voter should already know what your next move is going to be. If Donald Trump came out tomorrow and said, I'm going to legalize pedophilia, I'll be like, ooh, who am I voting for in the next presidential election? Who am I voting for in the midterms? That has to change. That has to change. Our party has to either totally renounce him, right? Or I got to lead a party. I got to become an independent. I got to become a libertarian, something. I can't just stay up under it. This guy, Stephen A. Smith, like, nah, I'm going to stay up under it, but I'm going to just ask the politicians what they going to do. The answer is they're going to get down or lay down. The answer is they're going to do whatever it takes to survive. If Hakeem Jeffries has to lick Zohran Mamdani's boots to remain Speaker of the House, he will do that. Because all these people do is try to keep themselves alive. So you don't need to know what they're going to do. What are you going to do based on what you feel is right or wrong, or based on what you feel is best for America?
Where has socialism ever succeeded?
Nowhere.
If so, tell us where that is. How's it going to succeed in New York? How are you going to sell that in a capitalistic society? You might do it in New York with young voters. What about the people in the suburbs? What about them? You really think this kind of message is going to resonate with them? Because, ladies and gentlemen, what we're talking about here is this. If it resonates within the Democratic Party, but it doesn't have a snowball's chance of resonating in a general election, then you're basically handing the presidency to the GOP in 2028 as well. That's what you're doing. Because the party, the Democratic Party, will have been perceived as being fragmented. That's what I'm seeing when I see Zohran Mamdani. That's what I'm looking at, and that's what I see when I see his ascension taking fold before our very eyes. Is he right? Affordability being a real problem? You're damn right he is. Is he right that the working class has been ignored? You're damn right he is. Ladies and gentlemen, over the last year, the top 1%, when you look at some of these people and what they bring to the table, about the top 10 richest people in the country, you know, they've generated nearly or more than $500 billion for themselves.
See, and this right here is what I'm talking about. Stephen A. Smith will get up here and just make up like blatant lies. And then he says, oh, I'm a moderate. I'm in the middle. No, Stephen A., you're a liar. You're not in the middle. You're either believing misinformation or you're just totally or you're just totally ignorant of what's going on, or you're just blatantly dishonest. No, when a trillionaire makes $1 trillion, he doesn't just make that for himself. If Tesla makes $1 trillion, they're not just making $1 trillion for Elon Musk. They're making the pie bigger and more people have access to get a piece of the pie. That's how this works. These people act like Elon Musk became the first trillionaire, so he has $1 trillion in his bank account that he can go withdraw and go dive in it like a pool of money like Scrooge McDuck. That's not the way that works. Stephen A. Smith is like a typical liberal, oversimplifying things that they do not understand. If Elon Musk makes $1 trillion, that means every shareholder in Tesla has their wealth, their money, their bank account has grown. Whether it's the guy who owns 1 share or the guy who owns 100 shares. So how did he make that money for himself? How did he make that money just for himself? Dude, don't play with me, because I know folks. I know folks who didn't even have a lot of money, and now they done bought that Tesla stock, they done bought this SpaceX stock, and they are balling. I got a homie right now. He is literally driving a Porsche through China or one of these places because he just blew up off of this Tesla situation, off of this SpaceX and Tesla situation. I'm gonna hit him up right now and see if he could call in. Regular guy, was in the military, invested in Tesla. It retired him. He's now here you go. Let me message him. He's now driving a Porsche. He might even be watching the show, because when I went in his inbox, he was all messaging me. He was messaging me. But my brother, his handle on YouTube is Obstacles to Opportunity. This guy has been telling people for years to invest in Tesla, invest in SpaceX. He's been telling people for years, right? Do you think people were listening to him? Maybe some were. Most weren't, because his views weren't like super high, right? But here's the thing, that's not his fault. He invested, right? He invested, and now he's reaping the benefits of it. He's reaping the benefits. Elon Musk made $1 trillion. When he made $1 trillion, he increased the size of the pie. And guess what? Everyone who bet on Elon Musk, everyone who had faith in what he was doing, guess what? Guess what? They are reaping the benefits. They are reaping the benefits. If you didn't do it, guess what? That's on you. If you did do it, congratulations. But the problem is, most people aren't doing it. Most people aren't investing. Most people aren't willing to take the risk. But then they get mad when other people who do take the risk reap the rewards of taking the risk. Stephen A is full of crap. Stephen A is straight up full of bull. He's full of crap. Oh, the top 1% made this much money for themselves. No, they didn't. They made this much money for them and the people who put faith in them and took and shared the risk with them. That's who they made the money for.
That is what he's focusing on. That is what is resonating. But in the end, what it's going to do is serve to divide the Democratic Party. It's not going to have any effect on the Republicans as it pertains to what their plan of action is, because they're going to ask you to choose between capitalism and socialism. Before all of that, it's up to the Democratic Party to find a way to make a decision. Who's going to lead the party going into the future? If it's Zohran, it's socialism. Unless somebody that resonates as effectively is able to step up to the plate and ensure that the Democratic Party is not going to be at the mercy of the mayor of New York City. That's what this comes down to. Did you see what else Mamdani said? Said, quote, "We don't have to ask ourselves what life looks like if a socialist wins. I won last November. And over the course of these last 6 months, what we've delivered for working people are the very things we were told were impossible. And we've done all of these things while also delivering the lowest recorded crime in our city's history. That's what it looks like to have democratic socialism. And what you're seeing is that New Yorkers experienced this for 6 months and made the decision that they wanted to see more of it on the national stage as well. I'm not buying that yet, but it sounds damn good. What I want to know is that when you freeze rent, what else have you frozen? Have you frozen the price of equipment? Have you frozen maintenance? Have you frozen those things? Because those things still need to happen, and it costs. Nothing's free. And if you're talking about taxing, and more taxing, excuse me, you're going to run businesses out of New York City, and then ultimately, where's the money going to come from? To develop a middle class, let alone pay them. That's how.
But see, this is what I'm saying. Stephen A. Smith already knows what's going to happen. Stephen A. Smith is not dumb. He's been on this planet longer than me. We know how it goes under socialism. We understand that. We're not dumb. We know exactly how this goes. But bro gonna play a game. Oh, I don't know. I'm gonna play willfully ignorant. I'm gonna pretend like I don't know what's going on when I really do. And see, and me, I'm a person like this. I'm gonna tell you exactly what I think. I'm not gonna play games with you. I'm not gonna pretend to be something I'm not. I'm not gonna pretend like, oh man, I don't really know what's going on. So I can pull more people in with different perspectives, right? What I do is I say, look, I have my perspective, right? With my perspective, I'm going to share it with you. And then I'm going to give you the chance to come up and share your perspective. I'm not going to judge you. I'm not going to yell at you. I'm not going to come down on you for believing what you believe or thinking what you think. I'm going to respect it. And we can have a conversation, not even a debate. A conversation is where I hear you and you hear me, right? That's what we'll do. People like Stephen A. Smith, what they'll do is they'll basically try to they'll basically try to put on a new political identity every time they encounter someone new. I'm not doing that. Stephen A. Smith is talking to Anton Daniels. He's a conservative leaning. Now he's talking to Theron Williams or whatever his name is. Oh, now he's back to being a freaking liberal idiot. I don't do that. That's disrespectful to everybody all around. I'm going to tell you what I think. And if you make a good point and I don't have a point that really can push back on it, we just going to go with that. I didn't really see a downside, right? I didn't really see a downside to Biden in the CHIPS Act. I think that was a really good thing that Biden did. I really was mad with Trump for basically dismantling it when he got elected. But what I'm not going to do is be like, yeah, I hate Biden in the CHIPS Act just because I like Trump. That's not helping anyone. That's hurting everyone across the board. It's okay to admit when the other side got something right. There's absolutely nothing wrong with admitting that that's the other side got something right. Sorry, guys, I was trying to log into this. Hold on. Yeah, but anyway, yeah, I'm not doing that. But let me finish playing this.
I'm looking at things. Obviously, he's looking at it a bit differently, which is why I'm doing this segment, because I can't wait to talk to him. I've been anxious to have him on the show to ask him some of these questions.
He ain't talking to Stephen A.
I'm waiting to see whether or not he's going to accept it and what he's going to have to say once he ultimately does. Because in the end, the money has to come from somewhere. Nothing is free, ladies and gentlemen.
The mere fact that Stephen A. Smith is telling you, yeah, I'm waiting to see if Zohran Mamdani is going to accept my request to come on the show and talk. That already tells you right there that he's not coming. Stephen A. Smith is like one of the who's who of New York City. This guy's like the most famous sports commentator in the world. Why would Zohran Mamdani not want to come on his show? Because Zohran Mamdani knows if Stephen A. Smith start asking those tough questions, bro gonna be asked out. He know good and damn well he's gonna get exposed. And Stephen A. Smith, he's starting to present himself as the guy who's like, look, I'm gonna ask the tough questions no matter what, because it's good for his brand. Not because it's gonna change what he's gonna do politically. It's just what's best for his brand. That is it. That is it, and that is all. So yeah, Stephen A., go straight to hell, dude. I'm sick of this dude.
What he's going to have to say once he ultimately does. Because in the end, the money has to come from somewhere. Nothing is free, ladies and gentlemen. Absolutely, positively, nothing is free.
Nothing is free.
If you're not paying, it's because somebody else is. And if you want to say it's the wealthy that's going to be paid, well, if they're taking their asses out of New York City, who's going to be here to pay it? Eventually, it'll trickle down to that middle class that was supposed to be being spared. And where's that going to leave the city? These are just questions. I'm not pretending to have the answers. I don't know. But
he does know, but he's not going to tell you because he knows he'll lose a large part of his audience. I'm sick of the middle of the road crap with this dude. I am so sick of this middle of the road crap with Stephen A. Smith. It is literally getting to the point where he's pissing me off. You do know socialism doesn't work. You're a multi-millionaire. You know you're going to leave New York if that dude starts doing wealth tax and all that stuff. You don't got to know, Stephen A. Just tell me what you're going to do if Zohran is actually to push these wealth tax and different things through. How don't you know, Zohran? We can look at Chicago, They've already done what Mamdani's trying to do, and it failed. We could look at Seattle, Washington. They've already done what Mamdani's trying to do, and it failed there also. So how do you sit up and be like, I don't know. You do know. You do know. You just don't want to admit you know.
Legitimate questions that I need answers to, coming from a proud, renowned Democratic socialist like Zohran Mamdani. Inquiring minds want to know. Can't wait to talk to him. I'm going to stay on this subject for a while.
Yeah. So you see, now you heard that. Okay. Stephen A is freaking out.
Yeah. 100%. Greg is 100% right. Stephen A. Smith and all the Democrat shills are freaking out. They're all freaking out. It's so bad, even Roland Martin is starting to go at the Democrat Party. I just watched a video about Roland today where he's all over the Democrat Party, and not in the way that he usually is on their nuts. He is really calling them out. Because these people have been voting Democrat and been shills for decades. They are Democrats. And nothing turns someone conservative faster than being a Democrat shill, and then the Democrat Party start coming for your money. And that is where the Democrats are going to fail. When they start trying to eat their own rich, that's when the cracks start showing. Because these people love their money more than they love any party. They love their money more than they love any party. And if the party starts to come for their money, guess what's going to happen? They're going to jump ship in an instant. But yeah, I was telling y'all about my boy right here, and y'all could go to his Instagram or whatever if y'all want to. Somebody said, we're too busy trying to feed our family, so we can't invest. You can invest. You can invest right from Cash App. Or I got a nice little portfolio just from donations from one of my day ones, Miss Barry in here. She sends me stock through Cash App. That's turning into a nice little portfolio. That thing's making a little bit of money. Even she'll tell you what to invest in. She said like 3 days before Elon blew up, she was like, yeah, buy Tesla. There's so many people around. They even have AI that will invest for you. Stop making excuses. Every time you drive through the Starbucks drive-through, that's an opportunity to invest that you missed. That's an opportunity to invest that you missed. This is my boy right here. I want to get one of these videos. Where my boy at with this video? Is this it? So this guy right here retired early and just started investing in like Tesla, SpaceX, stuff like that. Is this a video? My bro is out here doing it. He used to come on my show a lot, but this is someone that I personally know who invested in Tesla, invested in SpaceX when it was not popular. And now bro is rolling around Europe, balling out of control in his Porsche. He all up in Thailand and everywhere else. Just living the life. He's living the damn life. And I couldn't be happier for him. He did it when other people didn't want to. I was trying to show y'all some of the car videos, but I don't know where the hell they at. But he been posting them joints all over Instagram for like the past couple of weeks. But bro is living the life. Maybe this is one of them. Is this a video? Yeah. But yeah, so I'm not knocking nobody. The bro is just out here doing his thing. He's not super successful on social media, but he made the investments and encouraged other people to invest. I remember he was one of the first people to say, well, before you start investing, you're going to have to get comfortable with saving money. I was with the bro because I was like, don't nobody else take that perspective. They don't say, hey, you need to, save your damn money. Oh, well, I can't play the song, but this is bro driving around in his Porsche after he just, cashed out. Dang, I wish I had the other videos, man. I don't know what the hell he did with the other videos. Oh, I think this is it. Is this it? This guy's living a damn life, dude. I'm about to have to go out here and hang out with bro. He's out here rolling his Porsche through the mountains of Saipan or whatever, just doing it. Like, and I'm nothing but happy for my guy. But stop with this loser mindset. These are the type of people that socialists want. I can't do it. It's impossible for me to, I gotta raise my family. We all raising families. We're all raising families. We all have kids. But you gotta be willing to do what other people won't do. If you want to have something special, if you want to have something that other people look at and say, damn, I wish I had that. You see my bro, he's living life, man. I know what he wasn't doing. He wasn't sitting up here complaining, I can't do that. How can I do that? I have to take care of kids and all this crap. What is this? What is bro sharing? Damn, man. I really wanted to show y'all his like car stuff. But I don't know if he just puts that on like certain posts. But that stuff is so cool when this guy's just like rolling through the hills, rolling through the mountains. I told bro, just make that type of content. Roll a Porsche and just, you know what I'm saying? Oh, right here. Here we go. Look at this. Can you see that? I mean, and I'm telling you, my guy been telling people like 5 years, 10 years, invest in Tesla, invest in this, invest in SpaceX, telling you what to do. And he's doing it. Hold on. That's the coldest part. Drunk off power and I was pouring. All right, I'm not the music we ain't doing. But he's doing it. And now he's living the life he dreamed of living. Straight out of middle America. I forgot where he's from. I think it might be like Illinois or some random place, Michigan, somewhere. Now he's living his life. But I say this to say, you know, don't listen to people like Stephen A. Smith. Don't listen to these people. Oh, the billionaires are just making, enriching themselves. No, man. They're making the pie bigger. And the bigger they make the pie, the more you have an opportunity to get a piece of the pie. Don't look at somebody making $1 billion as like something bad. Oh, this is bad. They made $1 million. No, don't look at it like that. Don't look at it like that. Look at it like, damn, they made $1 billion. That means there's a couple of million out here more for me to gain access to. I'm telling you. You can call it a pump and dump scam all you want to, but I know a guy who got rich off of it. So if it's a pump and dump scam, pump and dump it. Why? If you know what it is, you should be able to take advantage of it. That's one of the problems with our people. We so smart, or at least we say we so smart, but if we're as smart as we say we are, we will be able to exploit all the opportunities that are available to us. We will be able to exploit all the opportunities that are available to us. You can't, it's like those kids when they walk around and they ask them to read those cards, right? What this say? First thing they say, I'm smart. What this say? The follicular. Oh, so you're not as smart as you think you are. You don't even have to be smart. You just have to be willing to take a risk. Why who not worth $1 trillion? I don't know. I'd imagine because they're like different companies, right? As PlayStation should. They have more customers. PlayStation makes more money than SpaceX. That's fine. Isn't it owned by Sony? But if Sony, instead of hating, you could be giving game. But instead you want to hate. One bro got it off SpaceX. You can get it off of Sony. Whoever right here with the OnlyFans, get it off OnlyFans, bro. If you want to toot your ass up on the internet, be my guest, bro. You know what I'm saying? That's all you. But all I'm telling you is people take the hate, the criticism route before they take the route of how can I take advantage of this? How can this possibly change my life, right? And those are the people who the Democrats, the liberals, the shills like Stephen A. and Roland Martin, those are the people they're looking for. Those are the people they're taking advantage of. The people who say, I can't do it. I can't. Soon as you say you can't, they know exactly who they're dealing with. They're getting rich by continuing to tell you that your salvation is going to come from some politician stealing, doing Robin Hood, stealing from the rich and handing it out to the poor. Bullshit. That's what socialism is. And let me tell you something. Let me tell you the last thing I'm going to say about socialism. You might look at socialism and be like, yeah, well, I ain't rich, so it ain't going to affect me. Let me tell you, everyone's rich to somebody. Everybody is rich to somebody. A person with $10 is rich to a person with no dollars. And after they finish preying on everybody richer than you, then you're going to become rich. You're going to become rich to everybody else. And then the government going to come on down the line and they're going to say, all right, it's your turn now. They're going to go from the trillionaire to the billionaire to the millionaire to the 100,000aire to the thousandaire, right? To the guy with the 5-figure salary. They're gonna go to the guy with the six figure. Once he's done, they're gonna go to the guy with the 5 figures. And they're gonna take it down until everybody's sitting at the poverty line. That's what socialism does. Make everyone equally poor. Go research any country where they implemented socialism. Everyone became poor. Everyone who wasn't on the inside, everyone who wasn't, one of the chosen ones, they lost everything. Farmers in China, after the revolution with Mao Zedong, right? Farmers who were the equivalent of millionaires in today's terms, they lost everything. They were forced to work as slave laborers on their own farms. Because why? Everybody had to be equal. And it wasn't until Mao allowed these men to actually bring capitalism back into the country that China was able to come out of one of the greatest famines in human history, where 20 million Chinese people died. This has been tried. Mao killed 30 million. Yeah. Stalin killed 20 million. Every place socialism has ever been tried, millions upon millions of deaths. It will never make you equal. What it will do is it will destroy everyone's ability to make a living. And the poor, they will become even poorer. And guess what? They're going to get killed. That's what they do. Socialism, to hide its failure, kills the people who can't cut it. And that's what people are literally saying they want. We want socialism. No, they didn't. What are you talking about? Robert, you literally don't make any sense. Robert, you said they pale in comparison to Hitler. Hitler killed 6 million Jews. Mao killed 20 million people, 30 million. Stalin killed 20 million, including Jews. What are you talking about? Russians didn't like Jews either. They didn't like Jews. They killed millions of Jews themselves. So what are you talking about? How does 6 million, you got to be a liberal, Rob. All of a sudden, 6 million is more than 20 and 30 million. Come on, Rob. But that's liberal. That's the liberal. Hitler was way worse. Hitler killed 6 million Jews, bro. Mao killed significantly more people than Hitler. Stalin killed probably more Jews and more regular Russian citizens than Hitler. Them's the facts. No, I'm just kidding with you, Rob. I know you ain't a liberal. But but I'm just saying. And there's nothing like, bro, I'm telling you, we can learn from each other. We can learn. But when you learn, you don't repeat the same mistakes. But when you have people who are willfully ignorant and absolutely who are violently opposed to new information and correction, those are the people Mamdani and we're looking for. Those are the people. But guys, I'm gonna get out of here. It was beautiful. It was real. I enjoyed it. We had fun tonight. I got these segments off my chest, and we're gonna be back tomorrow at 12. We're on the. What I ask you guys, if you are not subscribed, please subscribe to the channel. I am at currently. We just crossed 24,000. Hooray for us! I'm at 24,023 subs. Wow, we were at 23,000 like 951 when I started this stream. We passed that. Can you guys please take a second to hit the like button? Please take a second. I want to go over 100 likes. Please, can you please help me get over 100 likes? That's the cost of admission. Just hit the like button for me. Share the stream if you're in a position to do so. And that is all I ask of you tonight. It's been real. I love these, like where I do two live streams in a day. And I will be back tomorrow. And I will be posting pre-recorded content, video on demand, right? Oh yeah, he's a communist actually. He's really a communist. Yeah, King Leopold of Belgium killed way more Africans than Hitler killed Jews, but nobody cares about Africans. That's what those lives aren't important to people. But you know, Jewish people, they have basically damn near an industry that, you know, revolves around the Holocaust. And hey, if you did something to me, I would never let people forget it. So I'm not mad at them. Keep telling people. Keep on putting it in people's face. This happened to me and my people. Because can't nobody tell you to get over it or forget about tragedy. How you were wronged. Right? Spread the word all you want to. Bruh, who is practicing socialism? I live in New York City and I don't see any socialism going on. Oh, you don't see any yet? But they really are practicing socialism. Stuff like you can't use gas. You can't put gas in a building. It has to be all electric. That's socialism, bro. That's draconian government mandates. If I build a building, why can't I use whatever fuel source I want? Gas for the stoves if I want to, and electricity for, you know, the lighting. Or electricity for the stoves and gas for the heating. That's freedom. That's America. Where you can do what you want to do without some politician coming through, oh, you got to do it this way and that way. No Jumper is wild. Yeah, stop complaining about slave movies. Facts. Democrats in the 60s saw how well the New Deal worked and concocted a similar New Deal, but not all Democrats were on board. So LBJ threatened to cut federal funding. That is why they supported it 100%. Man, the best deal is autonomy. You do what you want. The government is not going to mess with you. They'll call you when they need you to do something. If they need you to fight a war or something like that, they'll hit you up. That's the America I want. Leave me alone. If you need me, call me. I'll be happy to come and be of service, but stay out of my damn business. As long as I'm not breaking the law, stay out of my damn business. But thank all of you for watching this. I appreciate everything you do for me in this channel. We just in here, man. Hold on, let me see. Let me see if we got our likes up. Oh yeah, we do. Ooh, yeah, we doing good. We doing real good. Thank y'all. Help on your way out. Please hit the like button. We are at currently 53 likes. We got 90 people left. Let's get over 100. Hit the like button as you leave, please. But I'll see all of you tomorrow. I'm going to be posting some heat early, starting early. Now that I kind of got the format down, we gonna start competing. We not hooping yet, but we about to start hooping. We about to start competing with other channels, trying to build this channel, this platform even bigger. So hit the notification bell so you never miss a video. Appreciate everything you do for me in this channel. Till the next time, take care of yourselves, but most importantly, please take care of each other. Peace.